Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please. Spring FS Spring JDBC. Yesterday we discussed about 100% code driven configurations, guys. Now time has come to go for another application development by using 100% code driven approach. 27th, guys. Here is 27th. Done. 100% code driven configurations. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yes, switching workspace. NTSP 613. Yeah. Converting mini project into 100% code driven configurations based Spring application. Step 1. Yeah, tell me what is the thumb rule for 100% code driven configuration? Thumb rules I have given. How many thumb rules I have given, boss? Speak out, my dear. How many thumb rules I have given? 3 thumb rules I have given. Tell me what is thumb rule number 1? Guys, please respond. What is thumb rule number 1? Configure predefined classes using @bean methods of configuration class. Number 2, configure user-defined classes using stereotype annotation and link them with the configuration class using @component scan annotation. Number 3, come on. Number 3, instead of class path XML application context class, use what, guys? Use annotation config application context. What, guys? Annotation config application context to create IOC container in the client application. Got it? Keep old mini project application ready. Mini project application ready, guys. Done. So let me close all the editors. We have a lot of examples, guys. Where is our mini project? 19 IOC pros 19. That's cool. 100% P code. Mini project. I think this is the example we are having, right? This is the example we are having, guys. IOC pros 6 also there, 15 also there. 15 is with annotations and XML. So that I want to convert into 100% code driven configuration. Say paste. IOC pros, what's the number? 20. 20 and layered application real-time DA properties file. Cool, guys. Including property file we are taking. Yes, we kept the project ready, guys. This is our project. Step number 2. Step number 2. Remove XML files of the application by observing what configurations it is having. By observing what configurations it is having. CFZs, guys. Application context.xml, guys. Yeah, it is having what, guys? It is having what, guys? Come on, tell me, please speak out. It is having a data source configuration. What configuration, guys? Data source configuration. That to collecting JDBC values from properties file, and one property file configuration, and context component scan, and to decide the DAO dynamically, one alias name is there. One alias name is there. Okay, just keep them in mind. Just keep them in mind. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this, that package and this. Step number 3. Create configuration class. Configuration class. Create @configuration class. Create @configuration class. Tell me, guys. By taking create @configuration class by taking by taking @bean methods. What, guys? @bean methods to configure predefined classes as Spring Beans. Predefined classes as Spring Beans, guys. Predefined classes as Spring Bean. So right now what I'm going to configure is driver manager data source. Right, guys? Now listen. This is JDBC properties, guys. I can move to Oracle to Java, Oracle to MySQL to Oracle as I want. Okay. I'm taking package as a config package was com.nt.config com.nt.config, guys. Here is what recommended name for configuration class is app config boss. How to make this one as a configuration class, my dear? Configuration @configuration. Okay, how to link all user defined classes that are configured with stereotype annotations with the configuration class. You tell the annotation, then I will write the annotation. Today I want to listen from you. What is the annotation we are having to link user defined classes that are configured with stereotype annotation with the configuration class? Tell me. @component scan. base package @component scan base package. Tell me guys, what is that? com.nt.beans. com.nt.beans, guys. It's not beans, I will say com.nt. Com.nt means it will cover everything now, boss. Because service class com.nt.dao, DAO com.nt.dao, service com.nt.service, controller com.nt.control. If I write com.nt, it will cover everything or not? Now listen, in annotation environment, what is the annotation we are having? What is the annotation we are having to configure properties file, guys? What is the annotation we are having to configure properties file, guys? What is the annotation I have introduced the other day? @property source, super boss. @property source. Who is that person? Abhinash. @property source, guys. Tell me here. Here you have to give the location of the property file. What is the location of the property file? File na, that's why not dot. Class means dot. While mentioning package names, class names, dot, guys. While mentioning file names, slash. Always remember that. com/nt/commons/commons/ come on, commons/jdbc.properties. Are you understanding my point, guys? JDBC properties. Okay, guys. @property source, guys. Now listen. Now listen, guys. All the property file contain will directly go to Spring Bean properties, or first comes to one important. First come to one container managed object. I'm asking one question. Everyone should listen and answer my question. All the values collected from properties file will directly go to Spring Bean properties because of placeholder, or first comes to one container managed special object. Okay. Okay, guys. Right. com/nt/commons/jdbc.properties. Yeah. First of all, I asked one question, guys. First of all, I asked one question. Respond my question now. The values that are there in properties file will go to, come on, will go to Bean properties directly, or whether they will be stored in special object managed by container or not. I asked one question. You can see, simply say yes stores or no stores. Don't sit like a dumb person or deaf person in the classroom. Please. I want reply from yes stores. What is that special object? What is that special object? Forgot. That is environment object. What is that object, guys? Environment object. So shall we, first of all, that environment object I am trying to inject to configuration class. Don't forget configuration class is also one component, guys. That means it is also one Spring Bean. On the configuration class also we can do injection. That's the beauty. On the configuration class also we can do injection. After all, it is also one Spring Bean, guys. Now listen carefully. Private environment, ENV. Okay, at the rate auto. At the rate auto. Okay. So what is the point one? Note one. Every configuration class is one component class internally. That means Spring Bean internally. Spring Bean internally. So we can also do injections on that object. We can also do injections on configuration class object. Configuration class object. Note 2, guys. What is note 2? Yeah, the values read from properties file, okay, will be stored into environment object first. Environment object first. From there they can be injected to, come on, other from there they will be injected to different Spring Bean properties. They will be injected to different Spring Bean properties. Yes. Okay, I am injecting that environment object to app config. That means now environment object is having property files content or not? Contains property file keys and values. Okay, guys. Now listen. Okay. Now driver manager data source is predefined class or user defined class? Yes, definitely predefined class. If it is a predefined class, what is the thumb rule in 100% code driven approach, guys? We should configure by using @bean method. So how to write that method, guys? Public return type is class name, driver manager data source, create driver manager data source. Any method name I can take, guys. Method name is my choice. Driver manager data source. Now you observe driver manager data source DRMS is equal to new driver manager data source of new driver manager data source of. Is that clear, my dear? Okay. Yes. Okay. Here we have to set JDBC properties, boss. DRMS is equal to DRMS dot set driver class name, env dot get required property, env dot get required property. You have to pass the key. JDBC dot driver you have to pass. What dot driver you have to pass? JDBC dot driver. DRMS dot set URL, env dot get required property, JDBC dot. What is the another key we have to pass? URL, JDBC dot URL. Next, DRMS dot set password. Set, okay, now from env dot get required property, JDBC dot user. JDBC dot username. Nothing is there. From environment object, I am reading the values by submitting keys and I am assigning to driver manager data source object. Okay. driver. Okay, DRMS is equal to set username env dot get required property JDBC dot password. JDBC dot password, guys. Here is my @bean method. @bean method. Understanding? Okay. In password, username is given a reverse append. Okay, I got it. Password, I will take password. Here is my username. Yes, return DRMS. Okay. Yeah, we can use Vicari CP also, boss. Vicari CP. I will give as part of improvisation. I will give, I think already we started using Hikari CP. Yeah? No, boss. I will give. Hikari CP is the best. Driver manager data source is not that much recommended. As part of improvisation, I will give that code. Don't worry. Bean. Name is equal to any bean ID I can take. DRMS or any bean ID. Super, guys. Already we started using a. Sure. Already we started using a. If you are already started using, we will continue that only because best one is Hikari CP only. Hikari CP. I think in this example not there. Okay, since people are saying Hikari CP is the best, let's use Hikari CP, boss. So what we do is, okay, fine. Let it be. We will see as part of improvisation. Leave it, leave it. Okay, no, this is done. Now everyone comfortable with this code, guys? Everyone comfortable with this code, guys? Come on. This is environment object where JDBC properties collected from property file is there. Property file configuration. Properties file configuration. Next, component scanning, guys. Next, makes Java class as configuration class. Configuration class. Next, makes method returned object as Spring Bean. Makes the method returned object as Spring Bean, guys. Makes the method returned object as Spring Bean. Okay, boss. Now this is one thing I would like to give. Copy, guys, paste it. Copy these, guys. And I would like to present JDBC.properties also. After all, it is a supporting file. No, today this is not required, guys. Don't worry. Here is my JDBC.properties. After all, we are collecting from that file now, boss. Properties. Say paste. Everyone getting my point here, guys? Super. Next. Done. Step number 3. Step number 4. Step number 4. Make sure that all user-defined classes taken as Spring Beans are configured with stereotype annotations. Stereotype. Configured with the stereotype annotation. Which classes, guys? DAO, comma, service, comma, controller classes. DAO, comma, service, comma, controller classes. right? Already configured, guys, as per my knowledge. @controller, nice. And okay, @service, done. Confusions also avoided by using this. Okay, right now which things are activated, guys? Which things are activated? Which things are activated? MySQL. So here I want to use, remind, here all these things are not going to work out. What is the DAO I have to activate here? Right, there is no need of this. MySQL DAO. Look at the DAOs, guys. Look at the DAOs. MySQL DAO. This is the bean ID of MySQL. That was. Right, boss. This is done. All the three classes are already configured. Super. Next. Step number 4. And you don't believe we are ready with application. So lastly, client application is there. Na? In client application, create IOC container by using annotation config application context class. Annotation config application context class. This is the test package, guys. Done. Here is my annotation config application context CTX is equal to new annotation config application context of, okay, name of the configuration class. What is the name of the configuration class, guys? Yes, this is the class. And you don't believe our work is done. In client application, you have to write it. In client application, you have to write this. This is my step number 5. Why it is coming like this? Something disturbed, guys. Minimum this much is taking. I don't know why. Done. Okay. Step number 6, guys, run the client application. Step number 6, run the application. Done, boss. Now, let's see the application now. Only XML part I replace it with Java code based configuration. Enter student name, Karan, address, marks 1, marks 2, done. It will do final result. Student registration succeeded and result is first class. You are able to interact with MySQL database software or not. Remaining all are same, guys. Logics will not change. Processes will not change. Nothing will change. Only configuration part will change. Is there any XML in this whole application, boss? Is there any XML in the whole application, boss? I want reply. Is there any XML in the whole application, guys? No XML in the whole application. So that means we are able to achieve 100% code-driven configurations or not? Yes, boss. This is 100% code-driven configurations. including properties file I am talking about. This is my pom.xml. Done, boss. Run the application. Now listen. JDBC connection pools are okay. Acha, this one is the reason. Fine. Two types of JDBC connection pools, guys. Two types of JDBC connection. Standalone JDBC connection pools. Standalone JDBC connection pool. And server managed. What guys? Server managed JDBC connection. Server managed JDBC connection pool, guys. Done. Okay. Now listen. Suitable in standalone applications. Suitable in those applications that are deployable in the server. That are deployable in the servers. Examples. Okay, examples. Apache DBCP. Okay, Hika, what is this? Proxul, C3P0. I am not scolding anyone. These are the names of the connection pools, guys. C3P0. Next one. Okay, Vibhur. So many names are there. Now what is there? Hikari CP, boss. Hikari CP. Spring IOC container managed connection pool. IOC container managed connection pool. JDBC connection pool. Like driver manager data source. Driver. Which is the good, guys? Good is this. It's not good. It's the best. Performance wise, speed wise, it is best. It is always best to use. It is always best to use. Okay, now tell me. Suitable in those applications that are deployable in servers. Okay. Okay. Examples: web applications, distributed applications like RESTful applications will be deployed in the server zone. RESTful applications and etc. Web application, distributed applications, RESTful applications, guys. Right, boss. Now tell me, server managed JDBC connection. Tomcat managed JDBC connection pool. WebLogic managed JDBC connection pool. Okay, Wildfly managed JDBC connection pool. Okay, guys. What is the recommended JDBC connection pool that is preferred in Spring or Spring Boot applications? Spring or Spring Boot applications. Spring or Spring Boot applications. Are you listening my statement? Yes, guys. Answer. Answer. If Spring or Spring Boot application is standalone application. Standalone application. Then prefer using standalone JDBC connection. Then prefer using standalone JDBC connection. Okay, like Hikari CP. Hikari CP. If Spring or Spring Boot application is deployable application in the server, then prefer using server managed JDBC connection. What guys? Server managed JDBC connection pool. Like, come on. Server managed JDBC connection pool. Okay, like Tomcat managed JDBC connection pool. Are someone worried about this word, guys? Wildfly. Are spell mistake, ra babu. Right, Tomcat managed JDBC connection pool. Based on the type of the project, we have to choose, guys. Okay, guys. Yeah, but right now my project is what? Standalone layered application. If I want to use connection pool, what is the best connection pool I should use, guys? Hikari CP, right? Hikari CP. What is the best connection pool I have to use, guys? Okay, guys. What is the best connection pool I should use, guys? Okay, guys. What is the best connection pool we should use, guys? In standalone application, what is the best connection pool? Right, boss. Now let's go for procedure to add Hikari CP JDBC connection pool. Procedure to add Hikari CP JDBC connection pool in the Spring application. In the Spring application. Spring application. Step number 1. Add Hikari CP. Hikari CP CP means connection pool, guys. Dependency entries. Dependency entries in pom.xml. Entries in pom.xml file. Here is my pom.xml, guys. Here is my pom.xml. Okay. How to go for this? We have mvn repository.com. Here, don't give cap, don't give gap. Hikari CP means single word you type. Okay, Jaxer should come. Jaxer should come, guys. 5.0 latest only you take. Copy this. Go to pom.xml, paste. Go to pom.xml, paste, guys. Are you understanding my statement? Okay. Go to pom.xml, this one. Fine. Right. Okay. Done. Hikari CP, boss. After that, what next? Student BO and all this stuff. Yeah, let's go to Maven dependencies. Yes, Hikari CP jars came or not? The jar of Hikari CP came or not? Okay. So what should I do? Go to pom.xml, copy these guys, paste this. Copy these guys, paste. Done. Step number 2. Step number 2. Replace @bean method with Hikari CP object creation logic. Hikari CP object creation logic in @configuration class, guys. Super boss. @configuration class. Yes, where is this app config.class, boss? Here I am commenting this one, boss. Right. Okay, go here. Yeah, what is the class name in Hikari CP? What is the class name in Hikari CP, boss? The class name in Hikari CP is Hikari DataSource. What does, guys? Hikari DataSource. Create HKDS. Array, how driver manager data source is there? Hikari data source is also there. HKDS. Done. After that, what is this? @bean. Name is equal to bean ID, my choice. Anything I can give. Right, boss. Tell me. Hikari data source HKDS is equal to new Hikari data source of. Done, boss. HKDS dot set driver class name. What, guys? Set driver class name. Here env dot. I think we can copy paste this code. Only a reference variable name I have to change. Okay. What is the object name I have taken? HKDS. 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 JDBC URL. That's it. Return HKDS. Now I'm replacing this one with what, guys? Hikari data source boss. Fine. Real-time DI test, same application, but this time I'm not working with what? Driver manager data source. I'm dealing with Hikari data source. Rajesh, Hyderabad, 457788. Application is happily working or not? Super boss. Okay. Where is this? Configuration class boss. Here is my code. Here is my code. I commented driver manager data source. This is the code. Yes, in this one, let me highlight this section. I need to highlight this section, boss. Okay. Sir, you are saying driver manager data source is bad. Can you prove how driver manager data source is bad, guys? Driver manager data source docs. Yes. See, guys, it only agrees. This class is not an actual connection pool. It does not actually pool connections. It just serves as simple replacement for full-blown connection pool, implementing same standard interface, but creating new connection for every call. It won't keep any reusable connection objects, guys. Whenever you ask, it will create a new connection object. Actually, what is connection pool? You should have ready-made connection object. You should reuse the connection object. But what it is saying, I will create a new connection every time. I will create new connection every time. Moreover, what they are suggesting, check it out. In JWE container, it is recommended to use JNDI data source provided by container. That means if your application is what? Server based application, prefer using what? Server managed connection pool. Okay. Next, similarly, this driver manager data is originally designated alongside Apache DBCP C3P0 featuring bean style basic data source classes with configuration. That means if your application is running outside the server, listen, for modern JDBC connection pool, consider Hikari CP instead of exposing corresponding Hikari data source instance to the application. So now they are suggesting to work with what? Hikari CP na, boss. So that's why we are also preferring to work with Hikari CP. So in industry, no one uses driver manager data source. Everyone prefers working with what? Hikari CP in standalone application. If the application is web application, they prefer using server managed connection pool. Right. Tell me, guys, if you know Spring basic programming strongly, is it very difficult to convert that application into XML plus annotations? Speak out. Is it very difficult to convert into 100% code-driven configurations? Nothing, guys. Nothing, guys. So I will give all thumb rules in one place. Don't worry, once I introduce Spring Boot. Now, today, let me give intro of Spring Boot, guys. Spring Boot. Spring Boot is equal to Spring Boot is equal to Spring plus, come on, Spring plus, Spring plus, no XML configurations plus, okay, auto configuration plus, okay, embedded servers plus, in-memory databases, plus dot, many other things, guys. In fact, Spring Boot is Spring plus plus. Everyone getting my point? In fact, Spring Boot is Spring plus plus. Okay, if you want, you can go for Spring Boot is equal to 100% code-driven configurations based Spring application plus auto configuration plus other things, other facilities. Plus other facilities. Are you listening my point? Here also no XML. Array, these two things nothing but what? 100% code-driven configurations only. Na? 100% code-driven configuration. Spring plus no XML means 100% code-driven configurations, right? What do you say, guys? Okay, right. Now listen. Spring Boot is a framework. Okay, given by interface 21 or pivotal team on the top of Spring framework. Array, at the end, Spring Boot is Spring, boss. Spring Boot is Spring. Array, Spring provides abstraction and Spring Boot provides abstraction on abstraction. Everyone getting my point, guys? Here is the program developer. Developer develops the application. That application uses Spring Boot. Spring Boot uses Spring Framework. And Spring Framework internally uses Java technology, JWE technologies, and other Java frameworks. This is the basic story, guys. Okay, guys. What is this? Spring Boot application that internally uses Spring Boot framework. That internally uses Spring framework. That internally uses JSC technologies. JSC module technologies. What are the JSC technologies, guys? JDBC, JNDI, JDBC, JNDI, etc. Next, here is my JWE technologies. Okay, servlet, JSP, EasyB, etc. Next one, other frameworks. Sometimes it internally can use what? Hibernate. Come on. Okay. Hibernate, IBATs, and etc. Are you getting my point? Is more powerful than, guys. If you feel Spring is a semi-automated washing machine, okay, Spring Boot is a fully automated washing machine. Fully automated washing machine, guys. Understanding my statement? Washing clothes with the hands, working with the technologies directly. Washing clothes with a semi-automated washing machine is like Spring framework. Washing clothes with what? Fully automated washing machine. Okay, is like what? Spring Boot. That means it simplifies more things of Spring programming, guys. Spring Boot programming avoids The boilerplate code. Boilerplate code means repeated code, guys. Boilerplate code. The code that repeats in multiple parts, either with no changes or with minor changes. Either with no changes or with minor changes. Understanding my point? The code that repeats in multiple parts of the application of the project, either with no changes or with minor changes. Okay, of Spring framework or Spring programming. Array, Spring avoids the boilerplate code of technologies, and Spring Boot avoids boilerplate code of Spring Boot itself. That means it is going to do more other operations or not. And the key story is auto configuration, boss. Auto configuration. Okay, what is the difference between, main difference between 100% code driven configuration and Spring Boot? You know, auto configuration. Shall we understand what is auto configuration, guys? Auto configuration. Auto configuration. Okay, based on the jar files that are added to class path. Based on jar file that are added to class path, the Spring Boot performs multiple common operations. Multiple common operations automatically, and also gives some automatically gives ready-made spring beans to inject to our spring beans directly. Seriously, sir? Yes, boss. That's a beauty. Based on the jars that are added, it will give so many things automatically. Like, okay, data source. What are those? Data source pointing to JDBC connection pool. You never create, boss. That will come automatically, guys. Pointing to JDBC connection pool. Comes automatically based on the jars we have added. It's something like this, guys. Okay. It is very intelligent based on the kind of projects we create, based on the jars that we have added. It automatically decides these are required and it will create them and keeps them ready. For example, someone dressed with formals and looking very professional. So he need not to tell to everyone in the room, everyone in the family, today I am going for interview. Today I am going for interview. He need not to tell. By seeing his dress, we can understand, right? Someone dressed very heavily, traditionally and very heavily. So you need not to tell to him, are you going to function? By seeing the dress, we can understand, okay, they are going for function. Are you getting my point there, guys? Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Based on the jars that are added, it will give those things automatically, guys. Data source pointing to JDBC connection pool, guys. Okay, guys. Configuration of properties file. Configuration of properties file. Come on, guys. Next. Configuration of properties file. Okay. Servers. Some servers automatically comes, guys. Embedded servers. In-memory databases. In-memory DBs. Okay. Some template objects creation. Template objects creation. Some template objects creation. Come on, guys. And etc. You never do these things manually. These things will happen automatically based on the jars that are added. Okay. For example, if we add Spring Boot starters, nothing but jars, guys. Here jars, special jars are called starters, guys. Here, if you add Spring Boot JDBC starter, Spring Boot JDBC starters, guys. Okay. The Spring Boot automatically gives the following things, the following Spring Beans. Okay. Automatically gives the following Spring Beans. If we add Spring Boot JDBC starters, guys, what are the things, guys? Number one, JDBC template will come automatically. Hikari CP will come. Hikari data source will come automatically. Come on, you need not to create, guys. You need not to write @bean method to get the Hikari data source. Are you getting my point? JDBC template will come automatically. Hikari data source will come automatically. Named parameter JDBC template will come automatically. Next, data source. One transaction manager is there. That also comes automatically, guys. You need not to prepare them manually. Okay. You need not to prepare them manually. They will be coming automatically, guys. See, guys. So do I need to write the code to get them? No. It automatically makes them as Spring Beans, guys. So that means Spring with self-intelligence is nothing but Spring Boot, guys. Spring Boot is equal to Spring with self-intelligence. Spring with self-intelligence. It can think on its own. It can behave on its own. It can take decision on its own based on the kind of applications we are developing. Are you enjoying my statement, guys? So that means more burden is reduced from the programmer. Already Spring is giving abstraction on technologies programming. Spring Boot provides abstraction on Spring programming itself. Spring programming itself. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay. Spring Framework provides abstraction on Java, JSC, JWE technologies programming. Spring Boot provides abstraction on Spring Boot provides abstraction on Spring programming itself. Abstraction on Spring programming itself. Are you getting my point here, guys? Now tell me here. I'll take one small example, guys. Plain JDBC programming. Plain JDBC programming. Okay, otherwise JSC. JSC, JEE technology programming. Okay. Technology application. Let us assume you have written 500 lines of code. 500 lines of code. Okay. Now listen. Spring JDBC. Okay. Otherwise, Spring framework application. You will be writing max to max 150 lines of code. 150 lines of code, guys. Are you getting my point, guys? 150 lines of code. Tomorrow I will give practical difference between all the 3 lines, guys. Don't worry. Next, Spring Boot framework. Spring Boot also framework based. Application development. At maximum, you will be writing 75 lines of code. Tell me, guys, why? Here everything we should take care. Okay, here what? 60% framework will take care, 40% we should take care. And here 90% framework will take care, only 10% we should take care. Are you understanding my point? This is washing clothes manually. Washing clothes using semi-automated washing machine. Washing clothes by using fully automated washing machine. Are you understanding my point, guys? Okay. Programmer writes both common logics and application specific logics. Common logics and application specific logics. Programmer writes less common logics. Okay, less common logics and application specific logics. Okay, guys. Programmer writes only application specific logics. How, sir? I will talk in tomorrow's session. I think you enjoyed my kind of. Okay. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Come on. You got the clarity? What is the role of Spring Boot in the programming? You got the clarity what Spring Boot is doing for us? In what way it simplifies it? So without Spring, we cannot learn Spring Boot. We must have Spring knowledge in order to learn Spring Boot. So that's why in our courses, what we are offering and a full-scale Spring, there also first we are teaching Spring basics, then we are teaching Spring Boot, then we are teaching what? Microservices kind of thing. So anyhow, for you, I started Spring only. Your exclusive. Then I am giving what? This one. Right. So Spring Boot internal uses Spring and simplifies Spring programming. This one point you should resist in mind like anything. Okay. Thank you. 1-2 sessions we spend on what? Spring Boot. Then every module we'll start new module. At the end of every new module, we will see that module related Spring Boot. At the end of every module, we will start seeing Spring Boot of that module. So Spring Boot is just started today, and Spring Boot related to core module, Spring JDBC module will be discussed in next 2-3 days. Then every module at the end, we will see that module related Spring Boot, guys. Thank you. Have a nice time.